This might unironically be the most difficult video that I've made yet. Hey everyone, my name's Tristan Verstappen and I have a lot to say about many things. I was born in 1997. As such, I grew up in the 2000s. And many 2000s kids, such as myself, will be very familiar with the work of Nickelodeon, specifically the work done by Dan Schneider. He, of course, headed All That in the late 90s, then The Amanda Show in the very early 2000s, and then in 2004, the show Drake and Josh. Now, like most kids, I originally started just watching cartoons, and it wasn't really the biggest deal to me what live-action shows were. I remember actually seeing for the longest time adverts, bumpers as they're called, for Drake and Josh advertising the next episode or something. But I wasn't really interested because I didn't care. I wanted to watch cartoons. At a certain point, though, I started watching one of the episodes I happened to catch on. I'm pretty sure it was called The Bet, where both Drake and Josh are betting if Drake can give up junk food or Josh can give up video games, and whoever caves first has to dye their hair pink. It was a funny episode. It was something that I liked, especially for the time. And then another episode that I saw shortly after that was, I don't remember what the title was off the top of my head, but it was one in which Drake was studying for a, what is it called? Spelling bee or something? Some kind of event he had to do where Josh taught him a bunch of school smart stuff, and Drake was not into that at all. Anyway, I thought it was funny, I thought it was good, I liked the characters, and I especially related to, and honestly, throughout all of my childhood up until my early adulthood, tried to be Drake. But not Drake from Drake and Josh. Drake Bell. If the severity of that is lost on you, well, hopefully this video that we'll get into will shed some light as we look at the perversion of Drake Bell, a Nickelodeon nightmare.
Welcome to ET Live. We are here today with Drake Bell. Welcome.
Thank you. How's it going?
Seems like Drake Bell might have really done it this time.
I'm sure you all know about the Drake Bell situation that occurred earlier this
Messages
year.
between them were extremely inappropriate.
Charged with a criminal conviction involving a minor.
Apparently this person, Jay Aubrey, by the way, does make really good mini documentaries like this on YouTube a lot. And this is, when I saw this, I, like many videos, was immediately like, yes, I definitely have to cover this. I was holding off on covering it for a while, but really wanted to because, as we'll get into later here, this man was my hero. I mean, like I said, I wanted to be him, but we'll get into that later here.
I want you to imagine for a second you're a star in Hollywood. Not like a literal one, a famous one. Picture you at your pinnacle, the top of your game, being interviewed for your next big budget movie, your name up in lights, catching check after check. The world knows your name and you're at the peak of your career. The end is nowhere in sight, right? But a peak also implies a bottom, and an inevitable downfall that will either result in your well-deserved, fulfilling retirement from acting, or a painful, desperate quest to maintain relevance as you struggle to pay off your 4 McMansions, slowly but surely falling under the category of washed-up superstar. What actually happens to these once beloved entertainers after their careers are dead and buried? Unfortunately, some file for bankruptcy bankruptcy and have their houses foreclosed, while others may pursue a career elsewhere in music. Hell, some even resort to shilling NFTs to their remaining fans on Twitter. But I'm actually here to discuss someone who's done all of that, in addition to pleading guilty to perturbing crimes regarding children, because of course, join me as we cover the fleeting highs and categorical lows of a man whose pinnacle may always remain in the past, Drake Bell.
Because this year, Drake Bell, as I said, was charged with child endangerment.
Accused him of grooming her since she was 12 years old.
That Drake Bell has been trying to intimidate me.
You are a 31-year-old man, and I think you are a lying predator.
We're hearing, excuse me, case number 659324.
Jared Drake Bell, that's right, his first name isn't even Drake, which is annoying, was born on June 27th, 1986, in Newport Beach, California, to Robin Dodson and Robert Bell, who divorced by the time their son was 5 years old. Growing up in Orange County, Drake enjoyed skateboarding and attending punk rock concerts, not unlike the ones he'd cancel after pleading guilty to child endangerment. Are you kidding? I'm not kidding. This guy's a creep. But at 5 years old, he still had his whole future ahead of him. With his dad picking up on Drake's natural confidence through his impersonations of people on TV, he eventually began taking his son to casting calls. After landing a few commercials here and there, Drake was actually cast in an episode of Home Improvement and the 1996 film Jerry Maguire. Speaking of Jerry, he even ended up on an episode of Seinfeld in the late 90s. Guessing that's where he got girl advice too. Sorry, I'll stop. It's just too easy. After gaining some pretty impressive notoriety over the next few years, Jared Drake Bell would finally make his Nickelodeon debut as a featured performer on The Amanda Show in the early 2000s. After its sudden ending in 2002, when Amanda Bynes chose to walk away from the show, Drake wasn't about to be cast aside. In fact, his pinnacle was just up ahead.
Alright, so I realize that I've been silent throughout the beginning of this while this person sets up the video here, Jay Aubrey. But let's talk about this, especially from, well, my perspective. I'm not going to play any of the clips because, let's be honest, I'm sure they're all copyrighted, and that's not going to go well. But what he was just talking about, let's go back to that real quick here.
Was it about to be in 2002 on the...
Yes. Drake was on The Amanda Show with Josh Peck, both of them as recurring characters. They played a lot of characters that still to many people are cornerstones in their childhood. And they played many characters. They did, I'm going to find some bits here, and again, I'm not going to actually play them, but we're going to do here. I'll just do an image search, actually. What were they called? There was this bit, they played these characters. I don't remember what the characters were called, but they basically played these like mafia crime boss kind of dudes where Josh was, oh Jesus. This is going to be so bad. This is a GIF. All right, it'll work. Jesus, these images are so awful. Anyway, whatever. You know, they were these Drake was this kind of greaser type character. We'll get to that later as well. And Josh was this character who, you know, he was the funny guy. He was the fat guy. Drake had talked a lot about in interviews that he grew up on a lot of classic comedy. He viewed them, these two guys, him and Josh, both as, you know, kind of a Abbott and Costello kind of duo. And if you don't know who Abbott and Costello is, you haven't lived. But I highly recommend, when you're done watching this video, check out Abbott and Costello, Who's On First. Great classic comedians, amazing. I don't know anything about their politics or social stances, so if anyone wants to come out and say, oh, well, how can you support these guys when they said blah, 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 I don't know. You know, I don't know any of that. But as comedians, as people, or as comedians, as entertainers, great. I love their comedy focuses a lot on wordplay, especially with Who's On First. Good shit. Drake had said in interviews, especially, that he viewed him and Josh as these kind of characters and things of that nature. They had this bit where Josh would do something stupid in the show. To explain what the Amanda Show is real quick as well, it was basically SNL for kids. If you don't know what SNL is, it's Saturday Night Live. Or another example is the Carol Burnett Show. And Drake really grew up on a lot of these classics. He's only 10 years older than me. No, 11 years older than me. And he really was my hero for a lot of reasons, but we'll get to those as we cover this here. So Josh would do these silly things, and Drake would, like, thump him in the back of the head, and Josh would be like, what was that for? And he would say, for being an idiot. And they would do these, like, Italian mafia accents and stuff. Oh, that's right. Drake played a character called Tony Pajamas, and he would always correct. He'd say, it's pajamas. You know, because sometimes people would say pajamas, whatever. Anyway. So Drake, they had a lot of shows like this. They had a lot of bits like this in the series, a lot of recurring gags. There was a show, let's see if I can find it here, Blockbuster, which was, Blockbuster. Oh God, there are going to be people in my audience who don't even remember Blockbuster probably. For those that don't know, this is a parody of Blockbuster, where you basically had these characters that played by Drake Bell, Amanda Bynes, and some dude. Sorry, I don't know who this is. They would play these people at a video store where this person would come in and they'd say, hey, I saw your show, and say it was, or I wanted to rent, I don't know, say Titanic. And they're like, yeah. And they'd be like, well, instead I got this, I don't know, titanium or whatever. And it's just about making metal. And these guys would come in and they're like, oh yes, but it's better, much better. So they had this whole bit. It was funny. It was good. It was, there were a lot of great bits that this show had in general. But Drake was also very much a musician. He was very much into the band. This is his favorite band, he said, growing up, the Stray Cats. By the way, the reason I know all of this is because, like I said, the man was my hero. I've watched just about every interview I could find of the man. I followed the man's career forever. But he was a big fan of the Stray Cats, and especially Brian Setzer. He even got Brian Setzer to work with him on his third studio record called Ready, Steady, Go. But I am jumping a little bit ahead here. Stray Cats was this band that was very rockabilly, which is kind of this, like, almost punk rock punk rock meets punk, or something to that effect. So, Drake debuted a show on The Amanda Show in which he performed a song called Lost a Lover. I apologize for this god-awful image quality, but it is what it is. Here, this will be better. So, oh my god, no it's not. He performed Lost a Lover. By the way, one that I absolutely have stuck in my head a lot. It was one of my go-to breakup songs because the first couple lyrics are, let me think off the top of my head. It's like, I've been walking around since the sun went down, just waiting for something to happen. Or was that the second verse? Something like that. Let me, oh wait, we had it from Genius here. Let's see. I'm holding back from singing it. Wait, what? Oh, I'm sorry. No. I'm thinking of a different song, because he did play Lost a Lover, but he also played another song. Oh my god, what was it called? Oh, I remember. He also played Everything Is Gonna Be, I'm sorry, it's just called Okay. Pretty sure he played it on The Amanda Show, right? Or, let's see here. Or maybe he played both back to back. It's been a while since I've, hang on. I know for a fact, wait a minute. He has a song called Everything's Gonna Be Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. This was on, and again, I'm not going to play it. This was on, I think, this was on All That. Okay, I'm sorry. So we'll get to that later. I'm jumping way ahead. Not way ahead, but anyway. So, I'm sorry, I'm thinking of a different song. But he did also perform Everything Is Gonna Be Okay on All That, which was another Dan Schneider show and another show similar to The Amanda Show. Point is, he really got to start here with music, and as far as what people know him for, the good stuff people know him for, let's see, Drake, oops. There was an episode at the end of The Amanda Show, I think it was the last episode, but I could be wrong, it's been known, where there was, as the story goes, as told by both Drake and Josh in interviews, they were meant to be walking out of the studio, which they were here, they were walking out of the studio, and the direction from them was a shrimp was dropped, and they were directed to just fight over it. So they did. They fought over it, and their classic comedy that they became known for in Drake and Josh was very much on display here. Everything was ad-libbed, or at least so they say. And as the story goes, a producer leaned over to Dan Schneider and said, "That right there, that's your next show." And so it became true with Drake and Josh. But I'm, of course, adding to these things and adding more detail because this was my life. I cannot express that enough.
The Amanda Show chose to walk was just up ahead.
Hug me, brother!
Here we go.
In 2003, Nickelodeon launched Drake and Josh, the hit show that would break records for the network and to become a...
It's not true. Just real quick. They did start working on it in 2003, but it aired in January of 2004. Just want to clarify that. Carry on.
Huge piece of all of our childhoods. Well, not mine, because I grew up in a sheltered home where live-action sitcoms were the devil, but between...
Damn.
04 and 07, Drake and Josh managed to consistently rank amongst the top-watched cable programs each week. With all 56 episodes drawing an average of about 3 million viewers, it was deemed the most successful show in Nickelodeon history up until that point. I was born in 99, and everybody I knew as a kid watched it religiously, being the top-rated
I was one of those people.
show for ages 2 to 11. Even as someone who never saw much of it growing up, it was still somewhat of a staple in my adolescence, just by how iconic it was.
Hysterical!
Everybody knew who Drake and Josh were, but as the show grew older, so did the actors, and before long, it was clear to Danny Boy that the program had run its course, leaving the cast free to go their separate ways in 2007. Miranda...
Okay, we'll get to this in a moment. I'm sorry. I have to... He's skipping over things. I have to go over that. If we're going to go over the timeline, we're going to go over the timeline. So, 2004, we have Drake and Josh. To explain the impact that this show had and how successful Drake was at this time, we really have to look at a few things here. So, everybody knows the theme song, Found a Way. But there were several songs that were used throughout the show of Drake and Josh, as well as some other shows that debuted on his first record released in 2005 titled Telegraph. There was a song called Circles, which, because here's the thing, it wasn't just Drake and Josh. It was that entire sphere of Nickelodeon. Let's see. I mentioned about All That. Well, on All That, Drake Bell came back and he performed the song Circles, live All That 2005. In the end, was not ever on anything except the record. Hollywood Girl, that was used in the Drake and Josh Go Hollywood movie. This right here. I say movie, it's an hour-long TV special, whatever. Look, to me, those were movies. As a kid, I was called them movies if they were like an hour long. Highway to Nowhere was performed on Zoe 101 in the episode Spring Fling, which is how I got into Zoe 101 as a show, which was the first like teen drama romance kind of series I ever got into, and I loved it. There was a ton of stuff like this. Found a Way, of course. Why are we going... Oh, God, I don't like the way this is set up. Don't Preach was used... It was the song that he sang at the old folks' home in Drake and Josh Go Hollywood. Old home. Yeah. He was playing Don't Preach in this shot here. Telegraph wasn't performed anywhere, neither was the Backhouse. That was just a little thing that he did with a performer he had worked with many times called Backhouse Mike. So, in 2005, he had that, and as I showed earlier, he performed his song OK, which actually, OK didn't get released on any mainstream record that was released. But in 2006, he released, and this was actually promoted very well, I would say, on Nickelodeon. He released the album I Know. Now, I got this album, I think I got it for Christmas. This was the first album that I have ever owned, the first physical album I've ever owned, the first time I chose a musician that I really liked. And it was around this time, through seeing him on, hearing him in this record, seeing him in the seeing him in the, thinking of the right words here, I'm sorry. Seeing him on Drake and Josh and all these different things. Not the song, oh, I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Let me correct myself. His single was I Know. The record was called It's Only Time. I loved this record a lot. The only one that ever made it, I mean, there was Found a Way acoustic, but the only the only song that made it on anything Nickelodeon related was the song It Makes Me Happy. Of course, that was used in Drake and Josh Really Big Shrimp. But anyway, this man was my hero, my idol. I had posters that looked like him. Like I said, I make no exaggeration when I say I wanted to be him. I tried very hard, and after much failure, eventually did get my hair and everything to look like his. There were certain things about myself that were already naturally kind of more inclined to be like him as it was. Whereas, say, for example, I was getting into guitar because of him. I had all these different things. I did a photo shoot, my high school photo shoot, my graduation photo shoot, rather. I posed myself in a lot of ways to look like a photo shoot that he did. In fact, let me see if I can find that. But before we get to that, I really want to make this clear. Oops. This is what I used to look like. I did my damnedest to style myself after him and his appearance, especially when he kind of went a more, kind of classical vibe and stuff like this. And on the rare occasion when I would have somebody tell me that I looked like or reminded them of Drake Bell in any way, I was, it was like the best compliment you could have given me. Now it's a bit of a sore spot, but I did everything I could to be Drake Bell. Like, I cannot overstate this. I started playing guitar and eventually writing my own music, and before I started doing the content that I'm doing on here now, I did for a while. I tried making music. I was going to seriously pursue a career as an actor and musician. I'm going to find out. I'm going to see if I can actually... All my videos are delisted now, but I want to see if I can find and show you the kind of videos that I used to have here. Yeah, you can see here I had all kinds of I had tried, recording and playing in front of a camera. I did it with electric guitar. I did it with acoustic guitar. I tried recording stuff on what is that thing called? GarageBand, which I recorded through my phone, and I used my microphone on my phone or like the headset mic. I did all these different things. I wanted to be an actor and musician like him so fucking bad. You have no idea. And as such, with how much this man affected my life, like I said, I wanted to be him. So I watched all the interviews. I use YouTube for all my music, and that started because a lot of his music you couldn't get on Spotify or because there was a lot of unreleased stuff. Like if we look up, well, the entirety of the Nashville sessions, which was an unreleased EP in 2007, was only on YouTube, in which a official studio recording of OK is released. He did a song, The Spin, and I still listen to a lot of this music to this day, but he did the song The Spin, which was my first introduction to a political, I knew of like Green Day and American Idiot and stuff like that, but The Spin was my first like introduction to a more kind of politically charged song and art and all these different things. And I don't know if you can tell, but I'm getting like really worked up here because this was my life for so long. So as we get into the content further here, I really want it to be understood that this hit me really hard, and we'll talk about it.
Cosgrove starred in iCarly. Josh went to hang out with David Dobrik for some reason.
Do you think your wife would have still married you if you were like old fat Josh?
And Drake set his sights for a future in music. After just signing with Universal Motown and releasing 2 studio albums by 2006, along with dropping $2 million on a brand new mansion, what could possibly go wrong for the biggest teen actor on the scene? Well, a lot, actually. Despite making his return to the big screen in 2008 with the parody film A Superhero Movie. Holy hell, half a star. I like how this guy came back to edit his review 12 years after writing it. He was just so pissed. But at least this...
Yeah, so Superhero Movie. My God, that was a show, or movie rather. It was a lampoon, it was a parody. It was like scary movie, disaster movie, those kind of things. There were 2 movies that I wanted to see that Drake Bell was in, and I really wanted to see them, but I couldn't. My parents wouldn't let me because they didn't like the content that was in them and stuff. So we have Superhero Movie, where Drake's character, he plays this character called Rick Ricker, which is a parody of Peter Parker, and he becomes a superhero named Dragonfly. All of it is a parody of the Spider-Man film in 2002, directed by Sam Raimi, where Tobey Maguire plays Peter Parker. Best Spider-Man trilogy, by the way. Don't at me. I would say this poster is kind of false advertising because these guys are all side characters that really take a back seat. I don't remember even seeing this guy at all, the Wolverine parody dude, and this Pamela Anderson lookalike that's playing Sue Summers, Invisible Woman, isn't even actually a character isn't the love interest or anything in the movie. So I don't know what that's about. And this isn't a power that Drake's character has or anything. This like stretchy thing. So I don't know what that's all about. Whatever. He did do a song for this as well called... Pretty sure it was called Out of Time. Is that not what it was called? It was just called Superhero Song. Yeah, he did a song called Superhero Song, which played at the end of the credits for the movie. And like I said, I listened to all his music. I watched all of his live performances that I could find. I watched all his interviews. I'm not kidding, guys. Like, I know to a lot of people, this is just like, oh, there's another, celebrity that became like awful, or oh, who cares, he was a D-list celebrity, or a lot of people thought as well, like, oh, my childhood is ruined. This wasn't just my childhood. I mean, it was my childhood, but holy shit. Anyway, moving on here. Oh, I'm sorry. The other movie that Drake did that I really wanted to see was... Let's do College, in which Drake and his friends play these characters who, they go to college. This guy plays some kind of douchey dude who just wants to get laid. Not that there's anything wrong with that, just to be clear. This guy plays a character who is just a typical nerd. He does end up losing his virginity, though, to a MILF, I believe. And Drake plays the regular dude who's just kind of not really sure what he's doing, and he eventually finds love. They're all college seniors, and they get into college, or sorry, they're all high school seniors, and they have this trip where they go to college. I guess that's a thing that some high schools do. I don't know. I never went to college myself, so I don't know how that is, and my high school, I don't think, ever had anything like that. So in any case, you know, it's like Animal House and those kind of, you know, college movies and stuff like that. It's pretty good, all things considered, in my opinion, but I wasn't allowed to watch it. I watched it years later, along with Superhero Movie, because I finally wanted to, and I thought they were pretty good movies. Nothing to write home about, but they were all pretty good overall. But yeah, commercially, they absolutely bombed at the box office, and so on and so forth. But I want to put all that out there, and then I'm trying to think, did he do anything else in 2008? Or 2000? No. So this was a big thing too. From 2008 to 2013, really, fans were waiting and were constantly. You could search like Drake Bell third album, and there would be all this stuff about, oh, it'll be 2009, it'll be this, it'll be da da da. Now in 2008, he did do. Let me see if I can. You know what? I'll just. And we'll get to it later, but in 2008, he had a DVD, and yes, I own this, called Drake Bell in Concert. In said DVD, it was and I never saw like a live performance DVD thing from an artist before, so this was like a whole new thing to me, but let's see. See if I can find the playlist or anything like that. Let me see here. No, I prefer the playlist. Oh, this is the full DVD rip. Can we find a playlist? Okay, cool. This'll work. No, fuck. That's not what I'm looking for. Didn't I write 2008? Do I have to write Mexico? This is why Mexico part's gonna become important in a minute here. I did watch this whole playlist though too. You know, I mean, look at this new 2014. You know, no, man, I can tell you just by the thumbnails what these are. Well, I mean, it also says Queen of Sympathy there, but there were several songs that he performed live that never got studio recordings, were never released, were never anything. I can't find the 2008 Mexico thing. That sucks. Or what if we just write DVD? Come on, dude. I mean, all right, whatever. So, oh, this is one of the posters I had on my wall, by the way. This was absolutely one of the posters I had on my wall. Let me try to find something here. I mean, I get... Whatever. Point is, he played at this show in Mexico, and throughout the show, there were plenty of... What do you call them? There were like... It was like a documentary interspliced with the concert and everything. He played all kind of songs and a lot of songs that weren't released. Like there was a song called "Sea Song" that he did. All Alone at the Disco, which we didn't get an official studio release until 2019, I think it was. There were all kind of different songs that he did, and he really played to this Mexican audience as well, and they really liked him in Mexico, which we'll get to later in this video that we're covering here by Jay Aubrey. But he really developed a following in Mexico specifically, and he played all these different songs. He played this, and I was introduced to so much music that I'd never heard of before him throughout this concert that he did, such as like Saturday Night and the band that did it, which was called Bay City Rollers. He did a song called "Joining a Fan Club" by Jellyfish. He did all kind of different. He did covers. He did originals. He did all kind of different stuff, and it was great. It was a really good performance. Really good. Yeah.
Thing made money, unlike College, another film Drake starred in that tanked so hard it couldn't even match its already criminally low budget. Nice. But not everything was a failure. It was around this time he was tapped to play Timmy Turner.
Oh, that's right. This was like 2011, I'm pretty sure, that he was cast to play Timmy Turner in the live-action Grow Up Timmy Turner series, but Jay Aubrey's going to talk about that.
In the live-action Fairly Odd Parents, a movie about a boy.
By the way, you can bet I fucking watched this when it premiered. I didn't watch the other Fairly Odd Parents movies, but I absolutely watched this one.
Boy who refuses to accept he's growing up. Where have I heard that one before? I can't put my finger on it. Why the f*** did they make 3 of these? Was the demand really that high? But other than voicing Spider-Man and...
Okay. We need to talk about Ultimate Spider-Man with Drake Bell. Oh my god, we need to talk about Ultimate Spider-Man. I should do a TV show. In 2011, there was a TV series on Disney XD called Ultimate Spider-Man. I was so hyped for this show, you could not imagine. I absolutely loved Spider-Man. I've talked before about it. He's my favorite superhero. But also, Spectacular Spider-Man had aired a couple years prior, and I loved this. This is like the best Spider-Man show ever, by the way. I don't care what any of the new haters coming out of the woodwork say. This was such a good show. Such a good show. This is what Spider-Man should be to me. But anyway, moving on, like, tone-wise and everything, I mean, you should let the guy grow up. But anyway, this show looked like it was going to be the perfect storm of many things that I love, because it was being forced. It was being Spider-Man / Peter Parker was being played by Drake Bell. As well, Ultimate Spider-Man was a series that I was tacitly familiar with. I had browsed the comics at this point. I wasn't into them like I'm more familiar with them now. But there was a game in 2005 called Ultimate Spider-Man, where you did get introduced really to the world of Ultimate Spider-Man. And as well, Ultimate Spider-Man was in Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. He was this one back here. This is Ultimate Spider-Man. Now, these guys were voiced by Dan, I want to say it was Dan Gilvezan, who voiced this is like a really big deal for Spider-Man fans, by the way, so I'll run through this real quick. Spider-Man 2099 was voiced by, I believe it was Dan Gilvezan is his name, who was the like old Spider-Man that voiced him in the 60s. This Spider-Man was voiced by Neil Patrick. This is the Amazing Spider-Man, regular Spider-Man, if you will. He was voiced by Neil Patrick Harris, who voiced Spider-Man in the MTV Spider-Man series. And yes, for the uninitiated, there was an MTV Spider-Man series as well It was very interesting. I don't really want to get into the specifics of it right now, but it's worth a look if you want to check it out and see kind of a blast from the past. I'm going over so many different things right now, but I love this. I love when videos I cover lead into so many other different things for me to cover and talk about. The Spider-Man Noir was voiced by, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but no, that was Into the Spider-Verse. No. Here, voice actors. The fuck, they don't even have... Come on. Are you serious right now? You're not even gonna... Oh, Christopher Daniel Barnes voiced Spider-Man Noir over here. And if you don't know who Christopher Daniel Barnes is... whatever. Christopher Daniel Barnes voiced Spider-Man in the 1994 Spider-Man series. So all of these people coming together for the movie, and Ultimate Spider-Man was voiced by Josh Keaton, who voiced Spider-Man in the Spectacular Spider-Man series that we looked at a few seconds ago. All these characters coming together was a really big thing, but this introduced me even more to the world of Ultimate Spider-Man, and I was also a very big fan of... Whoops. The 2003 Teen Titans series. The good one, not Teen Titans Go. And I loved the tone, the comedy, the pacing, everything, and this series looked like it was going to have the animation style, the tone, everything of Teen Titans, and it was following the story of the comics of Ultimate Spider-Man, and Drake had said many times in interviews that he was a big fan of Ultimate Spider-Man specifically. He grew up reading the comics, and he felt like this show really stayed true to the source material. Now I feel like that was all a bunch of PR bullshit, because oh my god, this show was not. This show was super kiddie. Spider-Man constantly broke the fourth wall, and not in a cool way like Deadpool does, but in this stupid joke. I mean, he did this fucking, like... See if I can find images of this shit. I'm looking for the awful TV series. He constantly broke the fourth wall. Yeah, this shit. This shit was constant. God, I fucking hated this. I saw this and I was like, that is not my Spider-Man. I was fucking livid that they turned Spider-Man into this shit. I was like, what the fuck is this? This is not a fucking, like, Saturday morning bullshit cartoon thing. This is a... Look, I like my superhero stuff, my adventure stuff. To me, the bar is Avatar: The Last Airbender. I'm sorry, but everything that is made for kids, that is action, adventure-oriented, has some kind of superhero characters or anything like that, should have that type of tone. Comedy, but also enough seriousness and not be some bullshit kiddie garbage. And sorry, God, I fucking hated it. Anyway, and it's part of the reason I don't like Disney as well, especially because they canceled Spectacular Spider-Man for this trash. Anyway, this show looked like it was going to be an amalgamation of so many things that I loved. I could only hope that Drake would also be writing a theme song for the show. He didn't, but that's neither here nor there. I was so stoked for the show. And then it came out, and I fucking hated it. Have I shown enough yet how much my life revolved around this guy and things that he was involved in? Have I made that point clear yet? I hope I have, because we're only, 6 minutes in, and I've been going for probably like an hour now talking about all this. No, this really meant, it was like the three things I was the most interested in and constantly searching online growing up were Sonic the Hedgehog, Spider-Man, and Drake Bell. Those were like the things. I was always searching for a new Sonic game, new Drake Bell music or movies or TV shows, and new Spider-Man movies, video games, anything, any media, anything. All of this shit really meant a lot to me. This is what I spent my childhood on.
In the 2012 animated series and making a few guest appearances here and there.
This was from an episode called I Bloop, where Drake walked in, and as the story goes, Drake walked in on set. He visited the set of Nickelodeon, just wanted to kind of say hi, see what's up. They're like, hey, we're actually in the middle of shooting right now, but hey, why don't you actually just go and kind of improv showing up on camera? So he walked in, and he's like, he calls Miranda Cosgrove Megan because Miranda plays in iCarly, she plays Megan. In Drake and Josh, she played Drake and Josh's Drake's sister, Josh's stepsister. Don't take that out of context, fucking degenerate internet. And they were Miranda played Megan, who was there, like, she always pulled pranks on Drake and Josh and was like, she was a bitch, and she was a thorn in their side and all these different things. You know, they constantly had this thing where they go, Megan. Good shit. Anyway, so Drake walks onto set and he calls her Megan. He's like, hey, Megan, where's Josh? And, yeah, it was dumb, but it was funny. You know, if you want to see it, look up like iBloop or iCarly, Drake Bell, something like that, right? He had appeared in a few other things too on Nickelodeon, and I don't know if Jay Aubrey will talk about them in a minute here, but if he doesn't, I will.
He also collabed with Shane Dawson, just of all people, man. Of course, Shane, of course.
So fun fact about this, I don't know if you can still find the video online. This was actually my this was my introduction to Drake Bell. Oh, I'm sorry, to Shane Dawson. Shane Dawson had kidnapped her, and this was my introduction to, like, real YouTube, if you were, because for the longest time I was only ever watching, and I didn't even have an account on YouTube at first. For the longest time I was only watching, and I mean only watching, Hellfire Comms, which is a video game Let's Play channel type of YouTube channel, and they covered mostly Sonic content, or a lot of Sonic content. They also covered Kingdom Hearts and stuff like that too, so I was like religiously watching that. And I was also checking these other things. So Hellfire Comms was the other thing. But that was 2008, 2009 I started getting into, and that was how I started getting into YouTube. Anyway, I can go on and on about this shit forever. Yeah, so we had the video, Shane kidnapping Drake Bell. The whole bit is Shane kidnaps Drake, forces him to play a song, forces him to play games with him. The whole bit is Drake doesn't really want to be there, you know, all these things, right? Whatever. Cool, great. I really liked and related to Shane Dawson in a lot of ways too. One thing, similar to how I related to Drake, especially back in the day, similar hair color, similar hairstyle, similar beliefs. Shane was religious, but he was also a pervert. Let's be honest. You know, and he swore like a sailor, and he had a lot of things like that. And of course, we found out with Shane, it wasn't nearly as just kind of funny and shock humor as we thought, but that's a whole nother story. Anyway, man, this is like such a trip for me. Maybe this isn't the hardest video. Well, it's the hardest to stay on topic, because oh my god. Anyway, I know I'm all over the place. I hope that it's actually fun for you, though, that I'm going all over the place, because it's fun for me. It is. So, yeah. Anyway, moving on. There was another video that Drake was in with Shane Dawson. I can't remember what it was, though, so I can't seem to find it, so don't worry about it right now, at least.
Oh my god, you guys,
guess
guess who I have with me right now in my room? Drake Bell!
To see it,
No, I really did I watched a lot of Shane Dawson's content back then too, because again, I was introduced to him through Drake, and I watched a lot of just a lot of his like skits and music videos and stuff for a while too. I wasn't aware at all of all the like shit he got into controversies for, but you know, in any case, you know.
Drake go from dominating airwaves with Drake and Josh to then being sued by his own record producer for an EP they made together.
That's right. Okay, so we are going in the timeline here. So I did say official studio album, but in 2011, I don't need this anymore. In 2011, Drake released an EP titled A Reminder. He had a few music videos for Terrific, You're Not Thinking, which, okay, I have to... This was actually really cool, and it's sad that it hasn't... that all this bad stuff has come out about Drake now, but let me find... Who was that kid? Oh, here it is. Okay. There's this kid named Keenan Cahill, and I don't know what he's up to now. But he had, I don't know what exactly the condition was, but, you know, clearly he wasn't an able-bodied person. And I always thought it was so cool how Drake and a few other celebrities, like even Katy Perry and others got in on it, where they would they'd work with this kid, and he would get to shoot a music video with them. And it was just, I don't know, man. I thought it was really cute and cool. I don't know if he's done anything. Oh, he just uploaded something 2 months ago. Okay. I mean, cool. Good for him. That's awesome. Oh, apparently he does his own music now? That's good for him. That's so cool. No, I thought it was so cool how they did this shit. And anyway, God, I was such a fanboy. By the way, I've never had a celebrity crush, but the closest I've gotten, I would say, was Drake, because I followed him all the time, and like I said, really wanted to be him and looked up to him. And I've seen this live recording of a concert. You know, I've seen all of these different things. No, but he did. You're Not Thinking. He did a song called Big Shot. Speak My Mind, which he actually played. We'll just type in Christmas. Yeah, he played Speak My Mind at the Hollywood Christmas Parade. Oh, it looks like it was actually redone. Cool. I might actually add that to my... Well, not Christmas music, but I don't know. I might actually check that out. Like I said, and we'll get to the horrible things that he's done. I do still like him as an entertainer. We'll get to that in a moment too, which actually, you know what? Here, real quick. Let's actually get to this real quick as well. I did a video on this more in depth as well. Whoops, that's not what I want. Here we are. I did a video on this as well, more specifically, but it's kind of on the idea of, can you separate the product from the producer, the art from the artist, that kind of thing. This entire event taught me that you have to, but again, we'll get to that in a moment. I just want to point that out before anyone's like, oh, you're going over this video about how he's a horrible person, and yet you're still, you know, supporting him or whatever. Not really, but, you know, I do still listen to his music from time to time. The first song I ever learned on guitar was a song that he did called, oh my god, what was it called? It was called, fuck. What was it called? Was it Tell Me? Was it Why'd You Tell Me? No, it was, I don't remember. It was, there were a lot of performances he did live, like I said, that never actually got fully uploaded, or got a studio recording and got finished or anything. It was one of those shows. Was it Need You Now? Need You Now was a go-to breakup song for me as well. A lot of this shit. Anyway, he played Speak My Mind. Again, this is all in 2011. Let's see here. Yeah. Oh, he did a song. Oh, Speak My Mind is a cover, by the way, of the band. If I can find it here on YouTube. Yes. There's a band called The Argument, which released one record and one EP. One record called Sunset Serenade. No, Recess Serenade, in which they released a song called Speak My Mind. Great song, by the way. Really good song. Drake did a cover of it. Very good. You know, he very much leaned into the kind of more pop rock kind of vibe, which I fucking loved. And still do. But I had a point with this. Anyway.
It was pretty hard for fans to watch, getting his first taste of legal trouble when producer and also manager of Selena Gomez, John Fields, reportedly sued for 5 figures after several songs they made together failed to reach his EP, A Reminder. Honestly, it's been a while since Drake Bell has
that's right, this was from the 2006 music video, I Know.
Had a big hit in the US, but that could still change, since I hear the acoustics of a jail cell make for a good recording studio. For legal reasons, this is a joke, as I would never insinuate or allege that Mr. Bell is responsible for anything more than what he has been found guilty of in a court of law. Everything else mentioned in this video should be treated purely as an allegation and nothing more. Despite failing to reach much success in the States, his music was doing well in Mexico, something we'll get to in a little bit. But as far as his ability to attain any recognition in his own country, his efforts were falling flat, as it became increasingly clear that the apex of his career was in the rearview mirror with his old show. And that's when things really got bad.
Actor and musician Drake Bell has been formally charged with a DUI and could face jail time.
I guess Drake must have spent everything he had on that lawsuit since he filed for bankruptcy and thus had his 3,400 square...
Yeah, so this is a thing too. Drake's been in and out of jail a few times, mainly for DUIs. And we'll get into some pretty worse stuff here.
Foot home taken away just that next year, reportedly making $2,000 a month, which wasn't enough to pay for his usual $18,000 in monthly expenses. As Drake continued to spiral in front of the public eye, he was eventually arrested and convicted of a DUI, his second one since 2009. Not to mention a weirdly public beef with TV brother Josh Peck. I guess he got a little butthurt after not being invited to Josh's wedding, but later comments from Peck's...
By the way, there's a lot of weirdness to the friendship between Drake and Josh. You know, Drake says that they were always really good friends and things of that nature. Josh is now basically disowning him altogether, saying, no, we were never really good friends, we were just co-workers and all this stuff. And yet, there were several times that they would hang out just in general and all this stuff. I don't really buy it that they were just co-workers, but I think he's really just trying to save face after all the shit that's happened surrounding Drake and his name. But
seemed to imply...
This is before that, though, by the way.
The two just weren't as close anymore, making Bell's tweets even stranger, later feuding with Michael Jackson.
By the way, just real quick,
making Bell...
He looks fucking anemic here to me. God, I mean, I'm sorry, like, I don't mean to, like, you know, body shame or anything, but, like, look at that jaw. He looks so, like, way too skinny. Anyway, just
Bell's tweets even stranger, later feuding with Michael Jackson's...
So, by the way, there were a lot of... Actually, this might be it.
15-year-old daughter over Justin Bieber?
Yeah, so...
Later feuding with Michael Jackson's 15-year-old daughter over Justin...
Yeah, so... There was a time in 2011, this is the first, like, beef that I knew of that Drake had been a part of, where basically... he got in this really dumb Bieber, you know, feud over Twitter where they just said dumb shit back and forth, essentially, right? I mean, well, actually, not even they. It was Drake and his fans. And it went on for several months, and I thought the whole thing was dumb. I was like, I mean, of course I was on Drake's side. But I also thought it was dumb. Now, I will say, by the way, and Drake did, he put a picture of, like, new game. Yeah, just came out here. Yeah, here are some examples, right? You know, we have, when is someone going to tell this idiot he can't draw? His art is as bad as music, talentless artist. talentless, artless. Before I try to beat up the paparazzi, I make sure my mascara is perfect. Just came up with a new game, Miley Cyrus or Justin Bieber. Which, by the way, I do want to be clear on this. When I first saw Miley Cyrus's new look, I did actually think it was Justin Bieber. I really did. When I first saw... I also originally thought Justin Bieber was a girl when I first heard Baby on... Not the radio, but like... Teen Nick used to do this thing where they would play music videos of like pop songs and stuff. So I had seen that music video, and when I would hear it originally, I thought it was a girl, and then I saw the dude, and I was like, oh, okay, whatever. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So anyway, yeah, they got in this dumb feud, and then later on Twitter, he'll get to it later as well, so we'll save that. But yeah, he got into some dumb beef, and it all culminated. Let me see if I can find. Was it on YouTube? Okay, yeah. It all culminated in Drake basically telling people, like, hey, I'm going to be at LAX Airport if you guys want to come talk to me and shit. And it all culminated in everyone just palling around, just being like, hey, recording it. He's just chilling. He's like, hey, guys, how you doing? Whatever, right? They're just chilling. They're just having a good time. And, whatever. It is what it is, yeah. It was dumb fucking online Twitter bullshit, and this was the first of that I ever saw and was familiar with.
Justin Bieber? I don't know, man. I think I may have dug a little too deep and found a time he was being transphobic towards Caitlyn Jenner, only to be...
Yup, okay. So, I don't even need to, yeah, here. I don't even need to pull up the images. He's pulling it right here.
Dunked a little too deep and found a time he was being...
Yeah, so he was. He was absolutely transphobic toward Caitlyn Jenner. And this was a time where I myself was... I'll be honest, I was also transphobic. Although my standpoint on it, and I still do think this, that... I think there are a lot better representatives for the trans community than Caitlyn Jenner. I don't think that Caitlyn was, should have been like the spokesperson or whatever. Of course, seeing that her politics and everything now, we can see how bad that is. But yeah, I mean, yes, Drake did absolutely say sorry, still calling you Bruce, and then take it away, Jay Aubrey.
Transphobic towards Caitlyn Jenner, only to be dunked on by Onision. Yeah, you heard that right. You fucked up when even Onision is calling you a bad person. Just this personified. Bottom line was...
Oh, okay. What I wanted to point out was that he actually doubled down on it, and he was like, here,
you're phobic towards Caitlyn Jenner, only to...
Alright, yeah. I'm not dissing him. This is going to be misgendering because I'm quoting him. I'm not dissing him, I just don't want to forget his legacy. He is the greatest athlete of all time. Chill out. Yeah, like I said, I sided with him on this too. I was a very different person back in 2011.
Even Onision...
Or 2000... Judging by this image... No, 2015, my bad. Even still.
Onision? Yeah, just this personified. Bottom line was, Drake's reputation at this time was faltering, but unfortunately for him, things were just about to get even worse.
You understand, if you plead guilty, that is an admission by you that you did these crimes?
Yes, Your Honor.
Having said that, how do you plead to count 1? Attempted endangering children, felony of the 4th degree.
Guilty.
How do you plead to count 2? Disseminating matter harmful to juveniles, 1st degree misdemeanor.
Guilty.
But first, I want to give a huge thanks to today's sponsor, Raycon. If you haven't noticed...
Don't care about the sponsor. Let's see here. Oh, he's going to talk about him being on... He was on the No Jumper podcast of all things, too. He was on a bunch of different podcasts. Man, oh my god, dude. Seeing him on the No Jumper podcast was wild because he was like a completely different person. This interview, I guess he did 2 with No Jumper. I mean, he's smoking with the dude. He's swearing. He's like, it was, oh my dude, it was so fucking wild. And I mean, I got used to the swearing and stuff, but all the smoking, right? Drake Bell gets lit on the No Jumper live stream. Dude, it was, oh my god, this was wild. And I guess the first time that I saw cracks, we'll say, in who I thought that he was. But we'll get to all that later here.
Fan base in like Latin America, for example.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't get it.
That's dope. I wouldn't have guessed.
I had a big record out there a couple years ago, and
as mentioned earlier, Drake Bell's music wasn't doing quite as good in the US as it was down south in Mexico, where for some reason a multitude of his albums were circulating in the top 10, with one single, I Know.
This is true. As a fan, anytime you would see his content on YouTube or anything and you looked at the comments, most of the people would be Hispanic.
Reaching the #1 spot. At that point, it was clear to the struggling actor what he needed to do. Change his name to Drake Campana, which is hilariously just Bell in Spanish. This man just plugged his name into Google Translate and made it this whole persona. I have to respect it. Although he now claims...
Yeah, so basically, yeah, he really, delved into his work within Mexico. But as well, he did a record in 2014, 13, one of those. Let me find out real quick. 2014 it was released, that's what I thought. Where he did a record with called Ready, Steady, Go, which actually featured Brian Setzer doing a lot of the guitar work. This record featured a few originals. Yeah. Oh, cool. It shows what the covers are and what aren't. So, yeah, there was a new version of Makes Me Happy, which was fine. He did a song called Melina. I can't tell if that's a cover or not. I guess it was by someone called Adam Tarub. I don't know. I guess it was all covers. Well, damn. All right, cool. Well, the song Bitchcraft wasn't. I know that was written by Drake. But everything else, so one original song called Bitchcraft featuring Brian Setzer and covers. But yes, there was work from Brian Setzer on all these other songs too, right? We have Brian, I Won't Stand in Your Way, which is a Stray Cat song. We have Runaway Boys, a Stray Cat song. All these different things, right? And I liked this record. I liked this more kind of, rockabilly vibe he was going for and everything, and it was really cool. Well, one of the DUIs that they mentioned included him having to perform community service. I didn't know this, but he played, like, all of a sudden on YouTube, performances of him at high schools just started popping up, and I thought, oh, that's really cool. I didn't know this at the time, but apparently it was court-ordered, what do you call it? Like, it was court-ordered community service. So it wasn't really that cool. But I mean, it was cool to see him play songs like, oh god, what was that song called? It's by the Neon Trees. What is that fucking... Everybody Talks. He played Everybody Talks. He covered a bunch of other songs. It was cool. It was really good. And it was in 2000, so from like 2013-ish to around 2017, he really kind of rode this rockabilly wave and this rockabilly vibe. And we'll see if he gets to his next transition in the as an artist, his next reinvention as an artist in a minute here. He, as in Jay Aubrey.
Claims to have never moved to Mexico. This didn't stop him from alluding to...
All right, I want to point out, this is fake. He did not move to Mexico, and he did not... This image here, let's see if I can find the original. This is what the image is taken from. Come on. See this? This photo shoot, this little god damn it. This passport thing was made up and put as a thing like, oh, he changed his name and he got an ID move. No, he didn't do that. He did spend a lot of time in Mexico, and I believe he has a house in Mexico, but this is not real.
A Latin lifestyle via Instagram?
I didn't change my name. Although I love and would love to. I've never moved to Mexico. I've never been a resident or a citizen of Mexico. I don't have a Mexican passport.
It's a bit confusing there. If he never actually made the move to Mexico, why did he go ahead and post this? I mean, what even is this?
So he posted this? He posted his own fake... Okay, whatever.
If it's not a passport or an ID, it genuinely just confuses me. I have no idea what's going on. But I'm not alone. Seeing that Twitter had a field day upon learning about
Drake Bell changed... Wait, here, we have to go back to this.
What's going on. But I'm not alone. Seeing that Twitter had a field day.
Drake Campana has the same energy as the Spanish teacher episode of Glee. I don't know what that is. I know what Glee is, but I never watched it.
Day upon learning.
Drake Bell changing his name to Drake Campana and only making music in Spanish and tweeting. Okay, so, yeah, that was part of what I would say pushed me away from him, was that he was only making content in Spanish anyway. In 2017, Drake released a song. Let me find the... What was the album called? I know he had a single titled Honest. And he really did this whole rebranding thing where he was trying to be this like sexy, muscular dude. He got in shape. And hey, you know what? Good for him with getting in shape and all that. But he did this song called Honest, which broke my heart at the time because it was a very not rock song. It was very, very poppy. He did all these other songs. This was his kind of image for a while. He like really grew out his hair and like did this kind of hipster skater. I don't even know. I don't even know what to call what his style and image was at this point. He very much came off as like a wannabe pop person. I don't know. It was weird. It was a really weird time, especially as a fan who loved him for his rock music, and again, who wanted to be him and loved him as a well, like I said, a rock artist. All these different things. But let me find. What was the? Oh, it was called. Oh no, yeah, it was a EP as well. So he had a song called Leaves, Honest, Runaway, and Rewind. Actually, pretty good music videos for Honest and Rewind. And I can't remember who. Let me find... I found out recently that an actress who many people are a lot more familiar with now from other work... this person. Sophia Ali played the main love interest in Honest. Sophia Ali... Oh, that's right. She was Chloe Fraser in Uncharted. So I remember looking at the cast for that, and I was like, I wonder what else this actress has done. And then I found out she was in that. I was like, holy shit, she was in Honest? She was in that music video? Okay, that's wild. Anyway, so I wanted to point out, so the whole Honest and that entire cycle and everything, he veered very much toward pop, and I was very against it. And like I said, it really broke my heart at the time. And he released a song called MIA, and I didn't really like kind of the message of it either. Is this the one? Yeah, so we have a bunch of... He did do a song for COVID, Waiting for the World to Change. I thought that was actually kind of good. But, he really leaned in this pop direction in general. And I just wasn't for it, so I naturally kind of veered away from him. I also started getting more and more into kind of pop punk and got really into what is now my favorite band, All Time Low. Love this band, love these guys. And I know as well that in 2020, last year, around this time of last year, actually, October more specifically, there was some controversy around these guys, which, unlike Drake, they actually fought and beat in court. So take that as you will. Although I will say the kind of back-to-back issues of what happened with Drake and what happened with All Time Low really kind of taught me that even if these people are bad people, I can still love their music, love them as artists, and separate the art from the artist, because I can't fucking survive otherwise. Like, again, I did a whole video about it. Highly recommend checking it out. But yeah.
About his rebrand to Drake Campana, which sounds.
So, okay, let's get to this part, right? Exclusively write songs in Spanish. He wasn't writing songs in Spanish. He did have a song called Fuego Lento, and oh, I guess he did an English version too. Well, in any case, he did have a song called Fuego Lento, which, by the way, if I can find the original music video, the promo video and the original music video was a bunch of women. I think they were Latin, because I think the whole thing was shot in Latin America, but it was women like sexually licking like bananas and like lollipops, and it was a wild video. I don't think it's even on YouTube anymore. I think it actually had nudity in it, and it was taken off YouTube for that reason. I could be wrong though. But in any case, yeah. But Fuego Lento was all in Spanish. And I guess he did an English version now too, so that's cool, I guess.
Sounds like an SNL sketch.
Me gusta mucho, gracias. ¿Cómo va tu español, Drake? Más o menos. You said that.
Now, look, I do want to say that if you do want to make an effort to connect more with your audience, whatever that may be, and you go out of your way to actually learn their language and their culture, I think that's actually really admirable. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. It's grifting or anything like that. I mean, it is in a way, but I don't think there's anything wrong with it per se either.
All the social media is gonna be in Spanish, right?
The problem is if you're doing it disingenuously. I don't know if he was. Of all the bad shit we're going to get into that he did, and this, as you can tell, really is just the setup for everything, of all the bad shit we're going to get into, I don't think that was really one of them.
Dice, mis redes sociales ahora solo estarán en español, no más inglés.
At the end of the day, my man pulled a Bart Baker. And if it was done purely for money and to assist a dying career, I guess I couldn't knock it. Only personally, I'm not convinced there wasn't a more nefarious reason behind.
Drake Bell deadass changed his name to Drake Campana and make Spanish. Okay. Music now and moved to Mexico because everyone in the US found out he abused his girlfriend. I don't think that was why. I'm sorry. As a fan who had been following this guy forever, like throughout all his career from when he really took off in 2004, 2005 to, well, I stopped really following him in like 2018, 2019, somewhere around there. I could tell you that he was really into playing for Mexico and a lot of Mexican culture and all these things for years. It had nothing to do, I really don't think that it had anything to do with the controversies, unless he knew ahead of time, oh shit, I need to get out of here before the controversies hit the fan. But I don't think that part is true.
Behind the sudden brand switch. And by April 2020, assumptions started to be made about Drake's jump to a new demographic.
Melissa Lingefeld, the 30-year-old artist who goes by the name Jimmy Ono on TikTok, accused the 34-year-old actor of verbal and physical.
Okay, I have to point something out here because this has bugged me ever since I saw it, and I am well aware that originally at the time when I saw it, it could have been that what's the word I'm looking for here? I didn't, I was in denial, but please let me know if you think that this is the same person as this. To me, I'm sorry, they look completely different. And I'm well aware people can change their appearance. I did as well. A lot of people reinvent themselves and stuff, and that's all well and good, but I just don't see how that person is the same as this person. I really don't. Now I want to, because I'm more inclined to believe her with what she came out about him with. But in any case, I don't know. That's really neither here nor there, though.
Abuse in a video shared on the platform Wednesday, August 12th.
August 2020, Drake Bell was accused by his ex-girlfriend Melissa Lingefeld of pretty horrific—
Is that also her?
Emotional and physical abuse. Speaking out on her TikTok, Lingefeld, who goes by the stage name Jimmy Ono, dated Bell in 2006 for around 2 years, starting her video by saying,
"I don't really care if anyone believes me, as this is my story, my life, and something that I went through."
Yeah, I mean, she even shows the videos of her here. Look, I don't see that it's the same person, but, people can change, obviously, in many different ways, so.
It wasn't until recently that I actually realized that abuse isn't something that all women have to go through.
That is true.
When I started dating Drake, I was 16. I was homeschooled. I moved in with him.
Yes, that is a pretty bad red flag, because I can tell you he was 20, 21, maybe 22 by that point. That's not good. Let me actually figure that out real quick, because he was born, as the guy even said, August of 1987. So let's do 2000. Oh, I'll just do the math real quick here. Okay, I mean, he was 19, so that's still, I don't know. I don't really like that, 19 and 16, but anyway.
Singing. It wasn't until about a year when the verbal abuse started.
As the actress went on to explain that she and Drake had begun dating when she was 16 and homeschooling at the time. He was 20, by the way. She continued to describe his purported abuse.
Oh, I didn't even have to do the math. I haven't seen this video in so long, by the way, so I can't remember what this guy goes over and what he doesn't, just to be clear.
As, imagine the worst type of verbal abuse, and that was what I got.
It then turned into physical, hitting, throwing, everything. At the pinnacle of it, he dragged me down the stairs of our house in Los Feliz. My face hit every step on the way down.
After recalling a time he allegedly pulled her down the stairs of the home that was later foreclosed, she not only cites this 2009 police report of when he allegedly threatened her over the phone, but also this journal of hers from 07 to 08, which goes on to say, quote, "I don't even know how it escalated to such an event. To get to the bottom of it, he pretty much kicked me, choked me, slapped me. Molly called the cops and we spent the night at her place. My whole body was just aching. I passed out around 11, completely worn. It felt nice to get away from Drake. I think the only thing I got from this relationship is really tough skin, literally and figuratively," the entry states. Melissa then raises eyebrows again by alleging there were children he had harmed in addition to her.
I don't even want to get into the underage girls thing. I mean, I will, but I'm scared.
Now, I really want to take you through my emotions through all of this, because I was in absolute denial when this story broke. I still, even looking at the person now, I don't think that it looks like the same person, but I don't doubt as much anymore that it is the same person. I'm a lot more inclined to believe the things that she said, but I will say that I still hold to my narrative, generally speaking, my idea, generally speaking, that as far as believe all victims go, I believe you should believe and support victims who you know personally, but those that you don't know personally, you can't really say much for. So that's just me, though, as far as that goes. But like I said, I am a lot more inclined to believe her now than I was when all this happened.
Melissa was subsequently supported by several women who came forward and reached out privately after the fact. One girl claiming to have dated Drake for several years while he was filming the show, stating that she didn't have any voicemails or text receipts on account of Drake breaking every phone she had back then. She wishes she had more evidence, but claimed to have multiple friends and witnesses to attest to what she experienced, going so far as to call him a narcissistic sociopath. With another woman by the name of Peyton Lane also coming to Melissa in private, as it's been proven she dated Drake 5 years after her, making it clear to Melissa that she would back her up going—
She did, by the way. She was, I want to see if I can find... Did I spell that right? Is it Melissa? No. Okay, we'll just do girlfriend. No. Drake was on a show, a reality show called Splash, in which they took a few celebrities and had them dive. They learned how to become professional divers, essentially. And that was actually the beginning of Drake getting in good shape, too. He used to be very skinny, and then he just... Oh, yeah. In 2005, he had a really bad car accident, which is why he has a scar on his... What do you call it? Chin. He has a scar on his chin now. And it's also why he grew the worst... Well, I mean, you know, it didn't look good on him. Oh, I mean, this looks good, but that's not what his beard looked like. He grew a beard. Let me see if I can find where it was, like, really big. He grew a beard to cover his scar for a while. And it was also the first time that I learned people can have different facial hair color than they do hair color. It was a while. I remember asking my parents, I'm like, "What? How is his beard red if his hair is brown? That doesn't make sense to me." Anyway, I'm trying to... I can't find that woman. But the blonde, short-haired woman that they're showing here, she was seen in the Splash show that he was in as well.
Going forward and providing this email she wrote to Belle about...
Oh, her name is Peyton. I'm sorry. See if I can... Come on. Well, that was her, but I don't see her on Splash. Whatever.
Back in 2012 that seems to reinforce the claim of verbal abuse. To me, it's very telling that these women reached out to...
She was just in, like, they cut to her in the audience or something and had her clapping, you know how these reality shows work.
Melissa privately, making it hard for anyone to make the tired argument that they're doing it for attention. Nobody wants attention from abuse, Melissa later stated. I hope this gives girls the strength...
I do really like that, by the way. Nobody wants attention from abuse. Because that's kind of what I thought was happening. Like I said, I'm more inclined to believe her now, but especially back then, it was such a shock. I was in such denial, and we'll get to it.
To come out about their experiences with him, because I know for a fact he has hundreds of victims. Peyton continued chatting with Melissa as the two bonded over their shared relationships with Belle, citing Melissa for being one of the reasons she kept pushing forward even as the verbal abuse continued. In my opinion, these messages only show how affected these women were, and I only hope they're in a better place now that they're away from Drake and their testimonies are finally known. Of course, it should go without saying that Drake Bell has denied every allegation made at the time, and that...
Which, of course, everyone is going to do, you know, there's no, that's not really like a secret conspiracy, like, everyone is going to do that.
According to People, quote, never abused my ex-girlfriend or did so many of the other things Melissa falsely claimed on her TikTok video. In one of the TikToks shared by Melissa, two anonymous parties reached out to allege he had sex with their friend when they were 15 and he was 20. Although I'm not sure if these are about the same person, one anonymous account told Melissa, I remember you speaking on the phone to my friend after it happened, and you told her he choked you and spit in your face, which was said to have been in 2006. A timeline that adds up when you consider Melissa and Drake.
It doesn't sound like it was a consensual kinky thing, by the way. It sounds like an abusive thing, just to be clear.
Dated from August 2006 to February 2009. This is the girl he cheated on me with and took her virginity, right?
Yeah, I was going to point that out as well. Apparently he also, according to all this stuff, he also cheated on one of his girlfriends and I guess took another girl's virginity, which she was probably pretty young, and oh, I hate it. I hate it so much.
Absolutely downright sickening conversations, but it's an important talk to be had, considering these are all highly serious allegations against the actor, who has always maintained innocence, at least as far as these claims go. Personally speaking, I don't view Drake as a very reputable person, even down to his shady NFT dealings, which we'll cover in a second.
So imagine like if you're playing Fortnite, right?
But by late 2020, Drake's career continued to spiral out of control. Plagued by a multitude of allegations, it was only a matter of time before the law caught up with him.
Josh! Oh, you're gonna
This is from the episode Josh is Done, by the way. From Drake and Josh. Really, really surreal now. Holy shit.
Quit this, Josh! You need me! You need me!
I was definitely one of his biggest fans.
This is the part where it gets really fucking hard for me to watch. And this is the part where I couldn't deny it any longer. Viewer discretion is advised.
Everyone who knew me as a child knew that he was a hero to me. When I was 11, I learned that my aunt had a mutual friend who knew the defendant. That led to my aunt taking me to meet him for the first time in 2014 when I was 12. I adored him, and he instantly made me feel that he adored me right back. From the time I was 12 to 15, my aunt took me to meet him and spend time with him many times. I went to him for advice and for someone to lean on, and he gave me that. When I was 13, I went to him for boy advice. He told me that I was beautiful and that boys were stupid. He then sent me a photo of myself that he had screen capped from my Instagram, telling me that I was, quote, such a cutie. Another instance of creepy behavior happened when I was spending time with him at the age of 14. He said that I wasn't little anymore, and I was, quote, a woman now. At 15, he started sending me messages about how, quote, hot I was. In the summer of 2017, I messaged him, telling him that I was going to see him in concert in the following months. He replied by telling me that he couldn't wait to see me. He also asked me, quote, how old are you now? I told him 15. He then told me to, quote, hurry up, don't smile at me.
Just to be clear, the don't smile at me part was apparently him, I guess, grinning or smirking or whatever while she was pleading her case, whatever you call it, while she was reading that. Because they were in court on a Zoom call. She was snapping back at him, don't smile at me. It didn't make sense to me originally, but that's what she was saying.
In July 2021, 35-year-old Drake Bell was charged with disseminating harmful matter to juveniles and attempted child endangerment, according to public court records. As the victim, now 19, sat in court and alleged that Drake Bell had engaged in sexual misconduct with her, including once in a hotel room.
If you want to see that entire thing, by the way, there is the entire thing was put online by Law and Crime Network. I think they streamed it as well. It was very hard to watch, but it was something that I really had to reckon with. I will do more videos on my specific, what's the word I'm looking for here? Reinvention of myself in general. It wasn't because of this. I was trying to reestablish and reinvent myself for my life in general, basically just because I felt like my life was going nowhere. And I was a loser who hated myself and needed to fix things. So I started styling my hair differently. I was already dyeing my hair, started growing out a beard, and doing different things to just present myself differently. That was in December of 2020 that I had started doing those things, and I was already leaning further and further away from Drake in general, so it didn't hit me as much as it could have. But when all of this happened, it really rocked my world. I mean, it really fucked me up. So much music, so much inspiration, so much memories of this man's work, and so long of me trying to be him. So many times that I felt good, great, when people would tell me I looked like him, I sounded like him, I acted like him, were all tarnished. And this cemented the idea that I was already establishing for myself, that I needed to learn to be myself. And not try to be my heroes. I could take inspiration from my heroes in many different ways, but I could not try to be my heroes. Because I'm not. I never was. Now, as I said, I was getting more into All Time Low and Water Parks, Mariana's Trench, my 3 favorite bands. And there was a thing that I found as well, which actually I thought was really cool at the time, of let's see if I can find them. Come on, really? Do I try to search here? There we go. This was some music awards festival or something that Drake Bell and Alex Gaskarth had hung out with. By the way, another thing that I thought was really cool, that I had in common with Drake, he's 5'9", and so am I. Alex is around, he's either 6 foot, 6'1", something like that. He's like he's a tall dude. But anyway, I remember seeing this and thinking how cool it was that my 2 heroes were together in something. Now, this is the only picture I'm aware of that they've ever taken together, only thing they've ever done work, have ever been in the same vicinity of each other. But in any case, this was used a little bit as leverage against All Time Low when the allegations happened toward All Time Low. Let me, oh, right, there was also this, so it was like these 2 pictures. That was it. Okay, and this, so there were a few, but, they did these few silly pictures. This one might be kind of yikesy in retrospective. I don't know. Might not be. Could be, could not be. I don't know. But, they did these few pictures. I hope you can still see these with, yeah, okay. Yeah, they did these few pictures. But, for the most part, they've never really interacted together. I don't really know what they were doing. I don't know, whatever, right? But in October of 2021, just a couple months after the whole Drake Bell thing, there were allegations where also started through TikTok where a person had alleged that All Time Low, this band, had done similar things to what Drake had done, that they had taken advantage of their status and had groomed and or hooked up with different girls on tour and different things like that, who were underage. The main person, it really wasn't the full band, it was really just this guy here, Jack Barakat, that was really the one that people, you know, but the, of course, you know, they snap back saying it's, you know, it's false, you know, all these different things, right? But, you know, in general, they did actually have a lawsuit and won the lawsuit. But my point is, oh, I have to write band, don't I? My point is, I was getting more into bands like them and this band Waterparks. Great bands, by the way. If you like rock, pop punk, that kind of stuff, highly recommend checking out their work, as well as Marianas Trench. And all of these artists, I gravitated more toward these guys and further away from Drake. So when this shit did happen, it didn't hit me nearly as hard. But it hit me enough to leave a lasting impact. And what I learned, especially from the essentially double whammy that year, that was Drake Bell and then All Time Low, basically I just learned for myself that even if these people are bad, and they might be horrible people, I can't let them essentially take away the music that I love, the memories that I've had, the positive impact they've had on me. I can't do it. I can't allow that to happen. I mean, I literally have at least one All Time Low and probably Drake Bell song in all of my music playlists. And I have a few main playlists. I have Musical Therapy, which is like breakup songs and just like empowering, you can do it, you know, kind of shit. Moving On, which is about like moving on from relationships and stuff like that. I have a playlist called Music for Lovin', which is a bunch of love songs. I just called it Music for Lovin'. It's not like my sex playlist or anything like that. There's also a playlist for Christmas music, and I think that's all of them. And I couldn't part with that. I couldn't allow myself to say, all right, I'm not going to have anything to do with their content anymore simply because they are terrible people. I couldn't do it. And I talked about this before in my video about separating the art from the artist, but I really do think, and I'll go ahead and pull it up again real quick here, but I really do think wow. I came up so quickly before. Oh, look at that, new sub. Let's see here. Yeah, can you separate the product from the producer, from the artist, all that stuff? Again, I really do believe you have to, because if you don't, you're going to run into these situations where people that you love their work and everything, turn out to be not great people.
And a 2017 concert in Cleveland. She was only 15 at the time, while Drake would have been in his early 30s. Sort of an age gap we've seen before, right? But I do have to clarify here, just so I don't get hit with slander, that Bell did not plead guilty to everything she accused him of. He only pleaded guilty to disseminating harmful material, or in this case, sexting a 15-year-old, to which—
By the way, I really, really hate this legal jargon. Originally, he was charged with child endangerment. I was like, what the fuck does that mean, child endangerment? I thought it meant, I don't know, someone might have gotten hurt at one of his concerts or something. No, apparently, and then, what was it, like, attempt child endangerment and disseminating matter harmful to— what the fuck does that mean? So, what it means is, yeah, like you said, sexting a minor. Yeah, pretty bad.
Which he labeled reckless and irresponsible, while maintaining the outlandish notion that he was unaware of her age, and the contact stopped upon finding that out.
Drake's made this wonderful claim that he actually did not know her age, and a lot of that statement very much confuses me. How would you get this person's number if you haven't met them? The only thing I can say is you probably responded to a DM of hers on social media. You most likely saw her face on her social media profile.
Pretty sure it's easy for anyone with functioning corneas to differentiate between legal adults and children. There is a difference, believe it or not.
Especially when they're that young, yeah.
Drake, a girl who can consent actually looks a lot different. There is a difference, believe it.
By the way, this image here is from a movie that he was doing that was in production called Covers, I think? Well, it's called something like that, right? Oh, Cover Versions. Okay, so this is another thing. There were a ton of movies similar to this. There were a ton of movies where and projects that Drake was in for like a short amount of time. He was in this movie called, oh my god, what was it? It was like, oh, the Hollywood really? Isn't it called Hollywood Slasher? I thought it was called... Wait a minute. Let me find it. I'm gonna find it. What? Oh, Jesus. When was this made? Oh, American Satan featuring the guy from that band, Black Veil Brides. I'm sorry, I can't. Andrew. Is it Andrew Black? Anthony Black? Something Black? Fuck. God damn it. Oh, Andy Biersack. He had a movie called Bad Kids of Crestview Academy, right? Which was apparently a sequel to some movie called Bad Kids Go to Hell, which was also not really that great. Yours, Mine, and Ours. And again, I followed all this stuff. Space Warriors, never saw this, not really familiar. The Graves, don't know what that is. I Love Vampires. Oh yeah, he was in that for like a couple seconds. I do remember actually seeing that. He was in this LA Slasher, that's what it was called. Okay. He was in this he was in a few like commercials and different things like that. Was he in, oh yeah, he was in Rags. He was like the DJ or whatever in Rags. He was in a lot of stuff though. Anyway, sorry, moving on. I wanted to point that out.
Believe it or not, Drake, a girl who can consent actually looks a lot different and a lot older than someone who's still young enough for Girl Scouts. I responded to a fan whose age I didn't know yet. When I became aware of their age, all conversation and communication stopped, he said. This individual continued to come to shows and pay for meet.
I do want to point out this language, by the way, and to be clear about all of this is just alleged. The only thing that he pleaded guilty to was that he did do the thing. He did send the dick pics. But I do want to mention this language here. When I became aware of their age, all conversation and communication stopped. That could have been at any point where he says, you know, it's the thing is, it's very vague language, and personally, I really hate it, both from the stance of somebody who wants the person to be innocent, and just a regular person who also really hated how vague the legal jargon was as well. Disseminating harmful... What the fuck does that mean?
and greets, all while I was unaware that this was the same person I was communicating with online. And that's what I pled guilty to. According to American law, they never did anything in person. According to American law, which we all know to be a flawless justice system. According to USA Today, the victim claimed to have been groomed by Bell from the time she was 12. She said she initially felt loved and protected by him during online chats, and that his messages became blatantly sexual after she turned 15.
I'm sorry, that's just really fucking gross to me, too. After she turned 15. Not that it would have been any better, but it wasn't even full grooming until she turned 18. It was 15? Alright, that's old enough. Oh, God. Like I said, he's 11 years older than me. He was born in 86, I was born in 97. I am 25. The thought of being with someone that young as a 25-year-old is fucking... Ugh. The thought of being with someone that young at his age? Half his age? What the fuck, dude?
She said his remarks made her feel uncomfortable, but she felt trapped because she idolized Bell. Probably on account of being way too young to consent, right? But regardless, Bell's attorney wanted to make it clear that there were no explicit photos or sexual contact between Bell and the victim, and the inappropriate conduct that did occur were reflected in the charges Bell pleaded to. Which is pretty confusing language considering he pled guilty to attempted child endangerment and a misdemeanor charge of disseminating harmful matter to juveniles. Not sure how that makes him any less.
It's weird too because he basically says after he pled guilty that he wasn't actually guilty. So take that as you will. There is a clip. I'm not going to show it. This guy didn't show it in his thing either, but there's a section where this girl talks about the abuse that she went through, and that specifically I'm going to say this as honestly as my perception is from what she describes in this video. He allegedly, according to her in her statement, he orally raped her. Hearing her story, the way she delivered it, seeing his response to it, if you watch this actual video, which I highly recommend, fucking broke me. I could no longer be in any kind of denial. I had to separate the art from the artist. That's not what I wanted. I really do now believe that you have to. Because whether it's your childhood hero, your favorite band, or your favorite, I don't know, company that makes some food you like I love Oreos and Nabisco does horrible, horrible things. You have to separate the art from the artist, the product from the producer. You just have to. And if you watch this video, be warned. It's really damning. Again, of course, for legal reasons, everything is alleged. Other than what he pleaded guilty to. But he seems to be doubling back on that, so I'll say everything's alleged.
Less of a creep. I guess it's not like he sent an EDP-style shit pic, but that doesn't exactly make you innocent either. Although some of the things alleged by his victim couldn't be proven in court, the fact remains that he pleaded guilty to sexting a girl 15 years his junior. So to me, the things she said really aren't that outside the realm of possibility.
Aside from Cleveland, the only other time that the defendant sexually assaulted me was in October of 2017.
Well, maybe we are getting to the video I just talked about.
It happened in Illinois in the middle of the night. He digitally penetrated me in the back seat of my aunt's car while she was driving him to a friend's house.
Digitally penetrated means fingered, just to be clear.
The Illinois police only agreed to move forward with that case if the Ohio police did not pursue this case. I don't understand why. Regardless of their reasons why, he has gotten away with sexually assaulting me in Illinois.
After being sentenced to 2 years probation.
Okay, I had forgotten about that part. I only know about the oral rape. I didn't know about that. Or I didn't remember that, at least.
And 200 hours of community service by the state of Ohio, Drake Bell took to the internet once.
I'm not going to be playing colleges or playing high schools for that community service.
More. This time with a pretty half-baked non-apology statement to his audience, I guess attempting to clear up any misconceptions, but he didn't really do that, ultimately just showing us his shitty pink and blue house interior and told the audience, well, come to your own conclusions.
I'm Drake Bell, not Drake Campana. So Drake Bell, no story, Drake Campana. A lot of the news that you've been hearing, well, most of the news that you've heard recently is entirely false and wrong. I didn't get arrested, I didn't go to jail, and it's not me telling you that the claims are false, but the state of Ohio has proven the claims to be false. If these claims were remotely true, my situation would be very different. I would not be here at home with my wife and my son. But that being said, I'm not perfect. I made mistakes. I responded to a fan whose age I didn't know. Yet when I became aware of their age, all conversation and communication stopped. And this individual continued to come to shows and pay for meet and greets, and all while I was unaware that this was the same person I was communicating with online. And that's what I pled guilty to. Don't believe the media right off the bat. It's a lot of clickbait.
Now, I do want to be clear about something. Is it possible that you could, at first, before going to somebody's profile, not know somebody's age or other information about them? Do people use fake images to say that they're somebody that they aren't? Absolutely. Do I believe that that happened in this instance? Not really. Not really.
Do your own research and come to your own conclusions.
Great. The language of an innocent man right there.
I love his explanation. Don't worry, I didn't send dick pics, but I did send sexually explicit text messages. Those pink and blue walls are rough. 100%.
Oh, I do apologize. It's not, apparently it's not, it was only sexting, like texting wise is what he pled guilty to. It wasn't actually sending dick pics.
His house is a gender reveal party.
In the months following his sentencing, Drake Bell has actually done the exact opposite of what I figured he'd do.
And he sent this message writing, "Would you mind if you and I had a conversation?" Which I'm all about a conversation. "If you are in LA, I would love to meet you in person." He decides to go and figure out personal information about myself. I receive this text message. For whatever reason, Drake Bell, I guess, isn't busy being a father or a husband. He's busy going out and trying to figure out my name and my phone number so that he can go and text me. The fact that he's going out of his way to go and get my number makes me worried about my safety.
Rather than escaping...
Real quick, by the way, I want to point this out here. So shortly after all this controversy really started, Drake, of course, released some images where he was like, hey, my girlfriend is actually my wife, and we have a son together, and all these different things. By the way, since all of this, and yes, I'm still following him on different social medias and stuff, but let's see. He actually has a podcast with his wife, apparently, or at least Drake and Janet, he did. I don't know if he's still... God, Drake Bell NFT. Which we're about to get into. Okay, he has one episode of the podcast, so I take it back. Drake and Janet, by the way, his wife's name is Janet. Well, now Janet Bell. Oh my god, that's right. I forgot. In 2019, he released Vertigo, which was actually a really good record, or really good song. Was very like, yes, this is what I've missed. This is the kind of music that I wanted. All Alone at the Disco. We finally got a studio version of it, and the Lost album, as it's called, where he released a bunch of songs from that, and yeah, I thought it was all really good. But we're not really talking about that. I got a little sidetracked there. I wanted to talk about that as well. But yeah, he goes and says, "Oh, we have this this child together," you know, all these different things. Which, I mean, okay. Oh, and that's not like a fake kid or anything, by the way. Let me, here's the kid, apparently. Yeah, cool, great, whatever. Okay. Whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it was like a publicity stunt to be like, look, I'm a father and I'm a husband, and, you know, love me, guys. It's okay. Forget the horrible things that I did, or at least allegedly did, you know. I don't know how much of it is that and how much of it is he just wanted to do that. Apparently, the couple had like just planned on keeping everything secret for a long time. I don't know. It's a mess. It really is a mess.
To his mansion to live in solitude for the rest of his life, sort of pulling a Kevin Spacey and revealing a completely unrelated, intimate detail of his life that he had been married with a son, in an attempt to sweep the negative press under the rug, I guess, but sadly, it hasn't worked. With co-star Josh Peck even coming out to express disappointment in his former TV brother, the inevitable decay of Drake Bell has been pretty sad for everyone to witness, and I can't even imagine what it must be like for the women at the center of it all. Since them coming forward, Drake's alleged history of abuse has and will remain a blot on his legacy moving forward. With nothing else left to do in the public eye rather than make Latin music for an audience who isn't familiar with American news headlines, and I guess shill NFTs to his remaining following on Twitter. Because of course, he does that too.
Metamons dropping in 6 hours. For the past several months, he's been doing this.
When he lied about paid promotion he did for some shitty Zoophile art, and for what, only $1,000?
Yes, he gave me 2 keys and I used the ETH to mint more. Now again, this is different from what he first told me, which is all I got was free NFTs. However, when we look up the 3rd key, he also paid 0. So he's just lying. Dude, it's just lie after lie after lie. It's like, just say like, yeah, I showed it. They paid me $1,000. I didn't say ad, I'm sorry. Instead, he's like, what? No, I didn't do it.
That Nickelodeon money must have dried up real fast. It's hard to say where Drake Bell will end up in the future. While with his cataclysmic demise tainting his reputation for good, it's only become more evident that the peak of his career remains forever in the past. Or honestly, it could just be Megan behind everything.
So, yeah. Where is he now? Well, he did that podcast, and, you know, I will say, it's a very interesting podcast, first of all. And to his credit, for lack of a better thing to call it, I will say that they basically talk about how a Drake and Josh movie almost happened and how Josh is being completely dishonest about their previous friendship and things of that nature. While that may be true, I kind of think it is, having followed Drake and Josh and knowing that they were actually very good friends, or at least seemed to be in the public eye, for years, even after the show ended. it is possible that Josh really did just kind of view him more as a coworker, but it doesn't seem that way if you look at and find like older content of them hanging out together and stuff throughout the late 2000s, early 2010s, all that stuff. I think he's just trying to distance himself from Drake, which I don't blame him for at all. But in any case, shit happens. What is the important message, though, to take away from any of you watching this? What is the important message that the viewer, you and me, and everybody else can really take from this? Well, if you're a parent, watch what your kids are doing online. Be careful about who they're associating with, and don't let them build up their heroes to be too important of people in their lives. And if you have any heroes of your own, remember that they're human, and don't let yourself build up them to be too important in your life either, because you can end up with these kind of situations. Like I said, many times, the dude was my hero. I wanted to be him. I really did. I cannot stress enough how important Drake Bell was to me growing up. I really can't. But I found out that my hero was a horrible person. And it really did teach me that you can have your heroes and people that you look up to, and that's fine. But just because you like somebody for their music, or for their acting, or for their art of any kind, or whatever they produce, does not mean that they are good people. It doesn't. You can like someone for what they produce and not like them as a person. And I learned that you have to do that. You have to. As always, these are just my thoughts. Let me know what yours are in the comments down below. Follow me on social media for more. Links in the description. Leave a like if you like. And if not, hope you find something to do like. Ring the bell to stay up to date. As always, though, these are just my thoughts. Let me know what yours are in the comments down below. Follow me on social media for more. Links in the description. Subscribe and ring the bell to stay up to date. Leave a like if you like. And if not, I hope you find something to do like. Take care of each other out there, guys. Peace and love.